You're stuttering. Let me make sure it's not me. Yeah. You playing in ultra wide? But you're only capturing 16 by 9. You playing in ultra wide? But you're only capturing. In OBS, go to setting and then video and select custom and then type in your resolution. And your bitrate. And change that process priority to above normal and not high. Then try next one up from very fast, like super fast. A lot of times you have to, it's harder for it to do more with a higher resolution image and higher bitrate, right? There's more detail that might have to be filtered out if you're downscaling. I'm shaking my head. And that's because of the going into the super fast. You're playing that kind of tug of war with. Yes, yes, yes. Like if you didn't downscale at all, you could stream at 50 megabits a second. Like I was doing it earlier today with NV Ink with no CPU increase at all from me using NV Ink with what I'm using now. Because it was all being done on the video card, but if I did a difference in X264, it would take more processing because it's doing more. It has to re-render the same image in a lower resolution while compressing the uh, the color information right into a format that it wants to send out. You were supposed to turn that back on. I told you to do that, set it to 10, and then check it again and see if it stays at 10. Yeah, now. Okay. It does that on mine too, but I don't know if that actually affects anything. Do you have to restart? You should have to restart streaming. I mean, the smoothness from the stutter should be from you've lightened the load on your rig by changing the super fast. But if you go back down in bitrate, then you would want to go back up in your profile. Ideally, you would want to be able to set that as slow as possible. It takes a yeah, as it think of it, it's scanning that image from top to bottom, and then looking at pixel color of the rows and trying to figure out how to remove more color information from it and still make it look good, right? So it's like taking one pixel and turning it into 10. Or this taking the size of 10 pixels and turning it into one pixel that gets. So if you take a slower time on each pass, you can dedicate more CPU cycles to how you interpret that data. That's why you've heard of stuff like two-pass encoding and shit. That means it scans the picture twice, and it does that so that it doesn't have to strip as much information out of it before it gets sent. Like what I'm using right now when I go back to NV Ink is I'm using NV Ink with two-pass and a profile that's high quality, low latency. And that works pretty well, and it doesn't. I can't tell the difference in my game at all, regardless of the game I go and play. But it would look great at 30 frames a second, but it does not look great at 60 frames a second at 720p for whatever reason. But I use NV Ink at 10 megabits a second, 25 or 50, and stream all that down to my FreeNAS box, and it will come out of the transcoder on the other side looking significantly better. It just gets more and more stutters. But here, I'll show you what it. Here's what it looks like. It's going to be unwatchable, but it's going to look. Yeah, just watch my stream for a second. It's gonna take it a second. I just started it. It's gonna take it a second. I just started it. So you can see, even though it's like a slideshow, when it actually does render a few whole frames in between those keyframes, it looks like screenshot quality almost. So I'm streaming it at 25,000 to the Nginx server, and then it's doing the transcoding with. It's essentially the same thing as you picking X264 and slow on your computer. So it's using like 80s or 70% of the CPU to try and do it. It's stuttering when it should be able to keep up with that. And so I can lower it, but you can see there's a huge difference in the quality. And that's still only a 3500 kilobit stream. Like if you click on the in the HTML5 window and you go to source, right? It's going to say 726. So it's and I can see outgoing on my network card, it is truly only sending out at a bit rate of 3500 to Twitch. It's just longer processing the image. Using those extra CPU cycles, it looks way better. You could do the same shit with just like you could have some guys just have a capture card and a separate streaming PC, right? With like, and they're doing the same thing. They're just picking a lower speed uh, rendering for X264 in OBS. That's all they're doing. They're even if you use like say you bought an Elgato HD60, unless you use their software, you don't get any true hardware encoding with it. You just get an adapter that you can pipe in a video from an outside source, like another PC or a console or something. But you don't need a capture card. You just need to install Nginx and RTMP like I did. There are tons of guides. You can do it in Windows. You don't even have to do it in Linux like I'm doing. Well, I'm using FreeBSD, but what I'm saying is it's incredibly marginal. Like you could set it to 2500 and ultra fast, and you would still end up with better quality when it goes and leaves the RTMP server to go to